father was actually in basic training in Fort Ord, California. He was in the Army rather than the Air Force, but he got some orders, and those orders said that he was to get his first posting to Anchorage, AR. So he gets on the airplane and finds himself at Fort Lewis, Washington to stay overnight, and realizes he's traveling north. Calls his mom and says, "Mom, I'm going to Anchorage, Anchorage, Alaska." And it was from that initial trip to Alaska in 1957 that his love of Alaska was born, and we wound up there as a young family in 1972 for him, and 1973 for the rest of us in the family. It was also 1957 that the first discovery, the real discovery of oil at the Swanson River on the Kenai Peninsula, it was that find that motivated Congress to allow us to be a state. And earlier that year, before we became a state, Alaska joined the Interstate Oil Compact Commission. We've come a long way in that short period of time and have benefited immensely from our participation in this organization. Our commitment is clear. 4 Alaska governors of 10 have served as IOGCC chairman, and I look forward to participating here as well. As you know, Alaska has been in excellent hands with our commissioners. We've got 2 of them with us, Dan Seamount, and who's over here, and Kathy Forrester, and Kathy, you're right here. We also have a contingent of Alaskans that I hope you will get a chance to meet who are here as well. In the 50 years since statehood, Alaska has produced an equivalent of nearly 20 billion barrels of oil for the nation. The giant Prudhoe Bay field alone has to date produced close to 13 billion barrels and has about 2 billion barrels of oil and at least 25 trillion cubic feet of gas remaining to be produced, making it the largest on-production field in the United States. Alaska has much more to offer her people and this nation for the next 50 years and beyond. Alaska, however, remains relatively unexplored. You know, when Prudhoe Bay was found over 30 years ago, there was exploration investment occurring in other regions of the state, and the capital got stuck north to Prudhoe Bay. And so there are vast onshore areas of our state that have yet to see a drill bit. And last year, Alaska added 284 million barrels of new proved reserves, more than any other state during this period. Most of these new reserves are in satellites to existing fields, but of the total new proved reserves in the U.S. attributable to new discoveries, 70% came from recent discoveries in Alaska. Proof of the great promise our state holds for the future. The state's offshore areas are also believed to contain significant accumulations of oil and gas. And perhaps even more importantly to us in this time, a recent study concluded that with respect to the outer continental shelf off Alaska, over the next 50 years, development there could create 35,000 jobs, over $72 billion in payroll, and that's just Alaska's OCS, and I think these jobs are worth fighting for. Unfortunately, political forces threaten our and other states' ability to capitalize on many of these resources. Explorers in Alaska's OCS still need a multitude of federal permits for next summer's exploration season, and if they don't get them by January, we risk losing those jobs and that exploration season. I met with Secretary Salazar less than 2 weeks ago to impress upon him the urgency of dealing with the OCS 5-year leasing plan. I was pleased to have the opportunity to meet him in person and share the importance of OCS development in Alaska, not only to Alaskans, but to our nation. I did it before the comment period on September 21st. And we're going to need your help, because only through our collective efforts in each of our areas put together are we going to be able to see more responsible development in our country. It's never too late to write the Secretary a letter, lending your support to offshore exploration and development, because access, whether onshore or offshore, is important to us all. Americans understand that energy means jobs. Over 500,000 Americans have submitted comments to Secretary Salazar. I understand that 350,000 plus of those comments are supportive of offshore development. Many of those letters I know are why some of you are in this room, and I appreciate the fact that many of you, your staff, your friends, sent those communications. Responsible resource development has been Alaska's past for many years. It is our present, and it is our future. My administration is going to continue supporting jobs, entrepreneurs, and domestic oil for America through opening Alaska's OCS, as well as supporting your states in your efforts to do the same. And we appreciate the support of this commission. Now, beyond the development of OCS, another major project that we're looking at and working hard on is the gas line, natural gas from Prudhoe Bay. Billions of cubic feet come up every day with the oil, and billions of cubic feet go back down into the ground. We'd like to share some of that with our nation. For companies, commercializing North Slope gas is about reaching that final critical decision to spend billions of dollars. It's about reaching that project sanction decision. It's huge. It's going to take some years to get there, because a lot of research, planning, and preparation go into that. And sometimes people sometimes our constituencies don't have the patience that's needed for these large commercial projects. But I think Alaskans do, because Alaskans are ready to produce some gas. For those of us who look at these large commercial projects and say, are we really moving toward that project sanction decision? We look at milestones. We look at milestones already reached, and we look at milestones still to come. We've got a few milestones that have been reached. As a state, we have pledged up to $500 million to the Alaska Gas Line Inducement Act project. We've pledged royalty inducements to companies that participate in the first open season. TransCanada has committed to project timelines that relate to the state, and ExxonMobil has decided to move in and partner with them in this venture. They are spending real money on this effort. BP and ConocoPhillips moved together in their Denali project and are also spending real money on a field season and follow-up analysis. So where are we now? 4 major international companies are moving into commercial alignment on an Alaska natural gas project. I think that's something worth noting. There are more milestones that are going to be coming as we move toward this gas line. Pipeline cost estimates, those are expected by January 2010. The state is going to promulgate those regulations I mentioned, giving royalty inducements to companies who participate in this first open season, which is scheduled for next summer. So that June 2010 open season is another important milestone. It's going to help us understand challenges of the project. We expect some bids that will include some conditions and terms, some of which the state may be able to address. So let me transition now. This year's annual IOGCC meeting appropriately focuses on unconventional hydrocarbon potential and setting sensible state policy. As no commercially successful replacement for hydrocarbons has yet emerged, Alaska, as well as other states, is driven to look for less conventional sources of oil and gas to fuel our nation. And we're doing just that. I applaud the IOGC's wisdom in recognizing the importance of this focus. With the huge conventional resources that we've enjoyed on the North Slope and in Cook Inlet, Alaska, we're a relative newcomer to the quest for unconventional resources. We have tapped only a very small fraction of our heavy oil potential, which at over 20 billion barrels dwarfs even the giant Prudhoe Bay field. We have yet to make a commercial coal bed methane or shale gas discovery. We continue to look for opportunities in gas hydrate production. Many of your states are years ahead of Alaska in tapping these and other unconventional resources, and I'm confident that being a part of the IOGCC, Alaskan, we can learn a lot from all of you. We can benefit from your experience and wisdom. I want to close by thanking you for your outstanding work in protecting and conserving our nation's valuable hydrocarbon resources and the environment in which we live. Our AOGCC, as we call it, is known for its confident, for its timely determination, and for carrying forth its mission with integrity. I know that all of you do the same, and as long as we can work together in this fashion, I know that our economy will be healthy for years to come. And I thank you for the opportunity to be here. I also want to let you know, just in closing, that I will have to be graciously excused, as I will be catching an airplane here within about an hour. But just know that we are leaving a contingent of Alaskans who care very much about the IOGCC's work, as do I. And I look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks.